right, good morning, everyone. I'm Catherine, and this
I'm
is
Lori.
Lori. And as Sam said, we are both parents through surrogacy and egg donation. So we have sat in your shoes and listened to these presentations, though it was a long time ago for me, 18 years. My kids are now applying to college. I never thought I'd be here when I sat there. So I can really appreciate what you're going through and understand that there's a huge amount of information that you are going to be synthesizing and taking in today. And when I did this, I know at the end of the day, my head just wanted to explode. And while you may not be there yet, because it's early in the day, if you get there by the end of the day, just know you're not alone. There are many people like you, as I have been. This is an exercise in patience. It's also an exercise in letting go. I always say that people that pursue surrogacy and or egg donation or even IVF, somebody, if there's a couple, is a type A person, because otherwise you just say, oh, I can't get pregnant, I'm done. So, but type A people, hard to be patient. And we try as our agency to bring you through this process in a timely manner once you decide to move forward. And I also say once people decide to move forward, they usually want to be pregnant yesterday. There's all this gathering of information, trying to decide what to do, and then it's like, okay, I picked the doctor, I picked the agency, let's go. But to get to that point, it's not always a fast process. The biggest question that we get, because everybody wants to be pregnant yesterday, is how long does it take once I decide on my agency? And that we call that the matching time, the time it takes to find a surrogate for you. And there are a lot of things that are involved, not just saying healthy uterus, nice couple, or individual. It doesn't work that way. So to start with, we're going to talk about why there are so many factors, but the first thing is it's 0 to 24 months. And again, 24 months, very unique circumstances. 0 months, that means you brought your own surrogate with you. And I'm going to go over all of this as we go through the presentation, but countries around the world are constantly changing, no surprise, especially in this day and age. Many of the countries have surrogacy available to you, but you have to look at how longevity and what the laws are. Are they truly established laws, or are they just a country that has no laws? No laws can change, or the political, political situation can also really impact, as we know today, the situation. And it's really sad what's going on there in Ukraine right now. Another thing, when I did this, now they're 18, so 20 years ago when I started, I would say, I'm doing surrogacy, or we're pregnant through surrogacy, and people would say, how did you feel when your husband slept with her? It was like, you're kidding. No. And so the way I always described it in a nutshell was our dough, even though there was an egg donor in there, our dough, her oven. And then they'd go, oh. So if that comes confusing, but this day and age, it's part of the vernacular. The world is talking about it, celebrities are doing it. You probably don't have to explain it, but it is very popular. And if you are an established agency, and as Sam said, we've been doing this for 18 years now, I call that pretty established, people want to work with you. If you've been doing this, you know what you're doing, you understand the ins and outs. For our agency, 75% of our intended parents are international. All of our surrogates are domestic in the United States. That's because the laws pertain to where she gives birth in the United States. And every state has different laws, but they're well established, and there are attorneys that are be talking from the United States today. They will explain that to you. I could, you don't want me to. So another thing that impacts the wait time, at least in the United States, is the vaccination status of a surrogate. As we know, not to get too political, but vaccinations, at least in the United States, have become a political situation. And even doesn't mean that somebody has a particular party that they prefer, but many parts of the country don't feel it's safe or established. The medical community contradicts that, and there's a lot to back it up, that it is safe and it's preferable. And if you have an unvaccinated surrogate, your chances of miscarriage increase. And if you're spending all this emotional time, time, actual time, and money on this, for me, I would not want to increase my chance of miscarriage. So I would want a vaccinated surrogate. This could change as things open up, but right now that's kind of the status. There's a lot of these factors that are impacting how long you're going to wait. As I said, COVID has impacted it. When COVID happened, a lot of our clients put their journey on hold. Understandably, they couldn't get here. Nobody knew what was going on. Things are opening up now, but there became a backlog. And then when people were sitting home, some people got dogs, some people said, I want a baby. More people. So there are more people trying to do surrogacy now than ever in the history. So there's a little bit of a backlog of people waiting for good surrogates. Finances, obviously, how much is it going to cost you, and that will impact which country you decide on and which surrogate. There's all kinds of factors with the finances. You're going to be selecting a clinic and an agency. You can do those hand in hand. You are going to need a clinic in order to find a surrogate, but you can still register with us without a clinic because there is a wait time for us. And then if you've created embryos in your home country or in another country, you have to get them shipped. So with COVID, there have been travel restrictions for IPs and surrogates, though they are loosening up quite a bit. Many of our clinics are short-staffed. That is holding things up. As I said before, people waited or all of a sudden decided now's the time for a baby. Greater demand than we've had, and again, unvaccinated surrogates. As we know, finances hold you up because it's expensive. Nobody's saying this is an inexpensive journey. It doesn't matter what country you do it in. So a lot of people need to save. So some people here are today to figure out how much is it going to cost, and they may be 3 years away from their journey, but it's good. It's good to research. It's good to figure out what it is that you need to save. Do know that in every country, whatever we tell you today, in 3 years, it will increase. Do your research with your countries, with your clinic, with your surrogacy agency, and do have realistic expectations about the cost. As an agency, we do everything we can to keep your costs contained, but there are still costs. And in many times you get what you pay for, so you want to take that into consideration. What are the most important factors for you? Is it what country they're born in, the stability of the laws, the success rate of your clinic? I have a lot of opinions, having done this, so has Lori. We are happy to set up free consultations with you. There is no charge for us to help educate you and make good decisions. I'm not trying to get you to sign with my agency. I'd love you to, but I'm trying to help you, educate you, so you make the best decision for you, not for me. When you select an agency, I keep saying, do your research, find out what's out there. Clinic success rates are important. Agency success rates aren't. If I have predominantly same-sex male couples, I'm going to have higher success rates because they don't have fertility issues. If I have heterosexual couples that have struggled, miscarried, and then come to me, my success rates aren't going to be as high. So my success rates are not as important as your clinics. That's what you really need to focus on. And set up consults. Set up consults with the doctors. Make sure Sam can recommend people, we can recommend people. We work with Dr. Sahakian, who was just up there, excellent clinic, high success rates. There are many good clinics in the United States. There are many not so good. You do get what you pay for also. Do remember that. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Experience matters. This is true of clinics and agencies. References, it's good to get references. Do they have other people, if not from the same country, from other countries, though we do have a lot in the UK and Europe for us. Reputation. What do other people say? Do you want an agency that just matches you and is gone and lets you take care of the rest? You may save money, but you're pretty far away and you've never done this journey before. You probably want an agency that carries you through the entire journey until your child is home with you. Even though there are attorneys here that help with immigration and things like that, the UK lawyers are not helping you in the United States. You want somebody in the United States, and that would be your attorney and your agency to help facilitate, to talk with the hospital to make sure they understand the situation, to help facilitate the birth certificate, which you need for the passport. There's a lot of things to consider. I only have 20 minutes, so I'm not going to talk about all of them. And connection. Do you feel a connection with the people you're talking to? Do you feel Look, there are a lot of good people, but I personally would want someone that's good and has their heart in it too, because I think that really comes through when somebody's helping you with a journey. Your embryos, I know Dr. Sahakian talked about them, but you want to decide, are you creating them in your home country? Sometimes it's cheaper, and then you ship them. Your success rates may not be as high if you don't create them in the home clinic where you're going to do the transfer. And again, you can create them in the United States, which might be more expensive, but might increase your success rates. And then there's egg donors. You can choose an egg donor. We do have an in-house egg donor agency, but clinics do. And if you don't find an egg donor with us, we're happy to recommend it. Egg donor is a very personal thing. Somebody came to us, they were of Indian descent. We didn't happen to have anybody that suited them. So we want to recommend them to other places so they can find the appropriate donor. So a few more things. Your preferences of what kind of surrogate you want. And, there are some countries that require a surrogate to be married, other to be single. We take all that into consideration. Where she lives, you're in the UK, you might say, hey, I want an East Coast surrogate in the United States. Great. But you might wait a little longer, you might not. You might say, first one that fits me and pleases my doctor approves, that's good too. Again, now if you are using an egg donor, some states require both intended parents, if there's a couple, have a genetic connection. Well, if you're using an egg donor, that state in the United States not going to be good for you, so we're going to not match you in that state. So there are a lot of factors that we're thinking about, not just, is she a good communicator? Are you going to get along? Those are factors, but there's so many other things, and your clinic requirements. Are you open to different ethnicities? There are certain countries that there's a predisposition to not want to work with certain ethnicities. We do not judge. It is not our preference. We want you to feel comfortable. So please feel open and honest with us. But again, the more specifics you give to us, you may increase your wait time for a surrogate. And then the most important thing is do trust your agency. At least for us, we've been doing this 18 years. We have a good sense of what makes a good match. We have a lot of factors that we look at in our screening of a surrogate. It's a very involved process. It's not that they apply and they're accepted to us. Better surrogates take longer to match. So we want better surrogates for you. So if an agency says, I have a surrogate for you right here waiting for you, first of all, they don't know you. They don't know your clinic. They don't know anything that you're looking for. That's a bit of a red flag. We do intensive screening and interview process. All of our interviews are done by former surrogates because they understand it better than I do. We collect all their medical records and obstetrician and hospital records for each pregnancy. We make sure that they get a clearance from their obstetrician saying it's okay for them to be a surrogate and update pap smear. We do a background check done by 2 retired police officers, not just a computer online check. We didn't find those efficient enough and revealing enough. We do video interviews. We meet if video, if they're not local, their support person. If they're married, it would be their or partner, that would be their husband. If not, if they're single, single people have excellent support systems. They're actually more multifaceted, but we speak to them also. Is it the parent, the father of their child? Is it their mother? Is it their sister? Is it a mom's support group? But they need to have somebody there that understands it and is there to support them. We support them too. I'm not saying there's not that, but there's somebody local that they've been involved with. Selective reduction and termination. Selective reduction is if you put in more than 2 or more and the embryo splits and you have 3, do you want to selectively reduce? Most people don't put in 2 anymore, but we check that. And also, will she terminate? If there are chromosomal abnormalities, these things all must be decided before we get matched with you. If we don't decide them before and all of a sudden you want to terminate for Downs and she doesn't, your whole match falls apart. So we want to prevent everything that could go wrong before it happens. And again, years of experience give us an idea of what those things are. She will do professional psychological evaluation, and your own doctor, once matched, will do an in-person evaluation we can set up and find people that are medically appropriate and good for surrogacy, but your doctor makes the final decision, which is what you want. And finally, This is a picture, maybe a little old because mine are 18, but of Lori and myself. And really, the greatest gift that I've given to myself is the gift of parenthood. And being able to help others do the same is the gift you can give me. It's an honor to help other people. It is worth it. I had, I went through at that time over 100 embryos, 11 IVF cycles, 2 surrogates, an egg donor, a sperm donor too. And I have identical twins, so it kind of worked out in an interesting way for me. But I didn't give up. And I always said if I had spent all that money and not had babies, I'd be really pissed off. But I have 2 amazing children, and it was worth every penny for me. And I know it's hard when you're sitting there to understand that, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely. Thanks, Catherine. That's right. Please.